So during the past year, education has seen a dramatic shift from in-person instruction to remote learning. And with all the challenges presented, it's revealed what's worked and what hasn't. What I've seen is that hope for more experiential and collaborative learning has diminished to a slew of multiple choice tests and vastly increased homework assignments. So I think that education should get back to centering around collaborative and individually centered learning. And what I've learned from my job is that awesome products come out when one works together with others, has great communication with the team, and shares their authentic self so that everyone feels more comfortable. And I feel that that could be achieved through experiential and collaborative learning. And I think too often in this pandemic, we've seen multiple choice exams as a way to assess a student's preparation on the subject. So why not use presentations or group projects as a way to reduce the content difficulty, but increase that challenge by introducing another level of public speaking, presentation skills. So then everyone in the group will be graded fairly, but also graded based on their effort and how much they contribute to the group. So school should be engaging and dynamic, fun for the students. Teachers should make their class like a game, leveling up students, teaching the growth rather than starting from 100% and removing points. We should treat it like a game where students start from zero and they work their way up, gradually attaining skills, because that's how human learning works. We should model it the same way. So long term, their education system should take on a form similar to what Astronova or Elon Musk's school, which focuses on case-by-case learning, as well as instruction based on bringing all the concepts together. Finland is also doing the best in the world right now, bringing the best education to its students and building from the ground up, like what I talked about earlier with gamification. Finland has vastly individualized their learning with lower hours, more Renaissance-type avenues, as the students know multiple languages and have many different interests that kind of interdisciplinarily come together. Students can use the amenities of the school anytime they want and reduce class time with more experiential learning. They've reduced standardized tests and fully engaged the students as children because they learn to play from a very young age. Playtime is prioritized. So this attitude, as they continue to explore, will carry on as they get older. These groups have human-centered learning at the forefront of what they do, and in a way it's trickle-up economics, but with education. Our society can improve as a whole. We're more conscientious and care about our fellow human beings.
The idea of uniformity in education needs some reevaluation. Online learning has shown us that modifications to education are possible, given the overhaul of K-12 and university onto Zoom and online learning. Online learning has proven to educators and students alike that the engagement is harder to foster, especially in remote environments. Proctoring and enforcing of tests in real time failed miserably, and the idea of live tests and proctoring is, in a way, counterintuitive to how the real world is. The real world is all about collaboration and looking up information, such as using GitHub and coding and software development, and asking students to simply recall information from a young age is a thing of the past. Focus should be placed on developing critical thinking from a younger age. Students should learn how to think unconventionally and should be able to learn how to utilize the resources around them to accomplish a given task at hand. Combining this objective-based yet critical approach to learning is a key part in overhauling the system, as students essentially need to relearn how to learn. Engagement is perhaps the single biggest factor in relearning how to learn. Teachers and students alike must naturally foster a strong interest in the subject and should try their best to incorporate real-world situations and problems into learning. A learning environment should resemble a workplace in order to concretely transfer classroom skills into real life. Learning to imitate the problems and tribulations that people face in the workspace will prove to be more useful in the long run to students.
Chai and Sunny said that experience is the best way of learning, and we know this to be true. It's been proven by multiple experiments, but it's also the most underused form of learning. In real life, we're given a test and we learn from that test, whereas in school, we learn and then we're given a test to evaluate how much we've learned. The problem with this is that it's difficult to improve the amount of experiential learning that we're doing in school without breaking the bank, so to speak. Another issue is homework. Homework is oftentimes detrimental to student mental health. It can cause stress, anxiety, even depression if you have too much of it and you're just buried under mountains of it. And that actually detracts from our learning experience overall. So there is an argument for completely removing it from school. But I think one more thing that Sunny and Shai talked about, maybe just Sunny, was the idea of gamification, which is adding rewards, certain challenges, certain stimuli that trick your brain, so to speak, into believing that something that you're doing is more of a game than it really is. In terms of when we use this in learning, it makes us actually learn better because we're physically experiencing it rather than reading a textbook and just memorizing it. Aside from that, it makes it a lot more fun. So actually one way that I kind of, this has been a pretty popular idea, a lot of people have come up with it, but VR is a up and coming thing, and it would be very, very feasible to have students wear a VR headset for considerably less time than they spend in school each day today, in regular school, and have a virtual reality game where the student goes through challenges, missions, fights, bosses, all that sort of video game stuff, and learns along the way. For example, you have to learn specific math topics to be able to beat this final boss or something like that. And not only, I think that not only would this improve the fun that students have while learning, it would also improve their actual learning experience. The ramifications of actually doing something like this to students, right now we have the pandemic, where it's more or less coming to an end, but we've been in school online, some of us for an entire year, and that has not been very kind to our mental health. So I'm curious to see what kind of an experiment testing the viability of VR in our school system and how that would work. But until then, I think we'll have to stick with traditional schools.